Ramirez, it looks like
South Wales, Australia. The Lynn family lived relatively comfortably.
Nah, I haven't seen this one.
Min Lynn, the family's patriarch, was a news agency proprietor and ran a family-owned news
We'll wait for this whole video to end, and if I don't find a cue, boys, I'll go to sleep and I'll stream early for tomorrow. Okay?
agency. With his wife Yoon Lynn, the family had 3 children, 9-year-old Terry, 12-year-old Henry, and 15-year-old June Brenda Lynn. Also at the home was Yoon's sister Irene Lynn. The family was clearly close.
Buddy, I got no clue about John. I haven't talked to John. Ever since he's been on the heel mic stuff, I know nothing about him. I know nothing about him, bro. He hasn't talked to me or anything. I need to make a cake and I need to head over to Destiny's channel. Did we lose him? I think so, bro. I need to, this is what I need to do, bro. I need to get a kick. I need to go with the Destiny's channel. I need to press the fuck out of John. Get him to fucking stream again. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's taking like a 3-month break for whatever the fuck reason. I got no clue. Like, bro, I get it. You're banned on Twitch. Why aren't you streaming on Kick? He's on everybody else's stream. He's a... Bro, and he's carrying their streams too. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Yeah, I saw the Kick stream with Heel Mike where he's got a girl who's like on top of him. And bro, like, listen, I'm sure she's a wonderful woman, okay, but bro, you could see the butthole through the pants. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck, bro? And I wasn't even trying to look. Like, what the fuck? What is he doing, bro? Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know. He's still Christian, but, you know. I think he believes he doesn't deserve anything, bro. And this is just him self-flagellating. So I gotta head over there, bro, and I gotta slap him a couple of fucking times. Wake him up.
As they lived together and worked together. The news
I know, bro.
agency
He's not
even
making money. He's not pushing.
employed
He's not.
Lynn's sister Kathy.
It's all.
Though everything
I'm gonna
appeared
do
to be
it. I'm
going
gonna do
well
that. I'm
for
gonna
the
do
Lynn
that.
family, that was about to take a gruesome
Which
turn.
is fucking unfortunate, bro.
On the morning of July 18th, 2009, Kathy and her husband, Leon Ben Robert Shia, went to the newspaper agency, only to find it closed. This was highly unusual, as the Lynns were always punctual and took their business seriously, as it supported their entire family. Concerned, Kathy and Robert went to the Lynn house to see if they could track down Min and Yoon. What they found would haunt them for years, in more ways than one. Unnervingly, they found the front door to the Lynn family's house open.
Listen, dude, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He could be over in YouTube. Like, he could be showing up with infrared, but he's gone one way. John's gone another way. I need to fucking... Listen, they're not gonna do it. I need to do it, bro. It's on me. I need to make a kick, and I need to contact both of them. I need a fucking mix right there, bro. I need to go get them. Because, yeah, they're both heading in different directions, bro. I need to go get them. Yeah, that's what I need to do, bro. Because nobody else can fucking get them back, can they? But I gotta snipe John. I gotta snipe John when he's hanging out with Destiny. I gotta snipe him. Yeah, I saw that he was playing grab-ass with OnlyFans girls, bro. I saw. Yeah, I need to go get him, bro. I need to snipe him from Destiny. And you know what, bro? It's good for me too. I'll press John. I'll press John. I'll show up at Destiny's and I'll pull a Carantos, bro. And then I'll be hanging out over there. It's good for everybody, bro. It's good for the viewers. It's good for the soul. It's good for the money. You know, it's good for everything.
Going
There's no
upstairs,
downsides.
the two noticed speckles of what looked like blood on the walls
No downsides
and in
there.
the hall between the bedrooms. As they looked closer, they found that the bedrooms were covered in blood spatter from the floors all the way to the ceilings.
Oh, God.
A terrified Kathy called for the police, barely able to make out the words, "I think someone murdered my brother's family." But the nightmare only got worse. They then saw the bodies, or rather, what...
Listen, it's not weird, bro. He loved the girl. he loved the girl, and it, you know, and I don't know, bro. I don't want to psychoanalyze him, but I'll psychoanal him. Okay, I don't know, bro. I think it's self-flagellation. You know, like I think he was thinking, man, I did everything right, and I got punished like this. Like, what the fuck? You know, I didn't cheat on the girl. I had the shows with the boys. I was bringing everybody up, and what did it bring me, bro? Heartbreak? Like, fuck no. Fuck no. I'm going back to being the degenerate. You know, when I didn't have to think. I didn't have to feel. I think that's what happened to him. But I need to go get him, bro. I need to pull him out of the darkness. I'm good at pulling people out of the darkness, so I need to head over to Destiny's, dude. That's what I need to do.
Of the bodies.
Garantos won't do it.
The faces of the victims were so marred that when the police and paramedics
Garantos
arrived
won't
at
do
the
it.
scene,
Destiny won't do it.
forensic analysis had to be used to identify
to
each of the victims. Eventually, it was determined that the victims were Min, Yoon, Terry, Henry, and Irene.
All the
five
family,
had been
bro.
bludgeoned with a hammer.
The whole
though
family,
4 had
bro.
also been strangled. The only one to survive was Brenda, but she hadn't been home at the time of the slaying. She had been on a school trip, and this likely saved her life.
Oh my fucking God.
The news of the gruesome murder broke before Brenda was contacted, and she learned about the deaths of her entire family through a news article.
Bro, I would die of sadness. I would cry to death. If I find out my whole family is dead, they got murdered, I would cry myself to death.
Investigation began. Kathy and...
No, honestly, dude, I'd probably go on a villain arc where I hunt the killer. And I torture him, and then I, do stupid shit to his family too. Listen, eye for an eye, bro.
Robert stepped in to take over the Lynn's newspaper agency business.
I don't want to, but I know that.
Brenda, who was completely
alone.
And then
I wouldn't hurt his family. I would want to hurt his family, but I wouldn't hurt his family. But I would torture him. Yes,
now,
100%.
Was placed into their custody.
100%.
Robert was noted to be especially eager to gain custody of Brenda in order to care for her after the loss of her family. In fact, just hours after the bodies were discovered, Robert had offered to adopt Brenda. For a month, there were no leads into the identity of the Lynn family's killer.
Oh, it was
but evidence was starting to pile up.
It was the
house showed no evidence of a break-in, which police believed indicated that the killer had a key. As well, nothing in the house had been broken or stolen, which meant that the motive for entering the house was likely only to kill the Lynn family. There were 24 bloody footprints, which told investigators that they were looking for one killer. And they knew that the killer had worn Asics sneakers. But here's the really interesting twist in this case.
Wearing Asics
the forensic evidence, specifically the bloody footprints, indicated that the killer never entered Brenda's room. But why not? If the entire family had been killed, certainly the killer would have looked for Brenda in order to make her a victim as well. But the fact that Brenda's room...
It's one of the two, bro. It's either Brenda, okay, which is unlikely, because one, she's a girl, okay, and two, she's supposed to be out on a trip. People would have said something. Probably not Brenda. It's Brenda's father. It's Brenda's father, right? Because he was going to adopt. It's Brenda's father, 100%. Went over and killed the ex-wife's family. Yeah, that's it.
Entered indicated something important. The killer knew she wasn't home.
Yeah.
This fact seriously narrowed down the possible suspects. Another red flag soon caught the attention of investigators, and I have to be honest, hearing this one really gave me the chills.
Oh, he's still inside!
When they listened back to Kathy's initial phone call to police, they took the time to translate something she had been yelling frantically to Robert in Cantonese. Well, it turns out she had been desperately pleading with him not to leave her alone in the house. But oddly enough, her husband did exit the home, not seeming to have a single worry about whether or not the killer could still be in the home with his helpless wife. Things were starting to come together.
Oh, it was him.
What if Robert had known Kathy would be perfectly safe because the only merciless killer around was himself? Of course, it was just a theory at that point, and not enough concrete evidence to make a case. But when official...
Yeah, I'm gonna be real, bro. If I'm a bitch, and I just got into a house with my husband and everybody got murdered, and I'm like, bro, don't leave me in here, and he leaves me there. I'm divorcing that motherfucker, and I'm running because that motherfucker's the killer. 100%. 100%. If not, he's a psychopath that wants me to die too. Hell no, bro. I poison his drink. I poison his tea. He dies. I was the killer all along. He didn't actually leave. I framed him. I make it look like a suicide. Oh my God, I'm a genius. I'm
planted a pinhole camera inside Robert's home.
High-level intellect.
And he was observed cutting up an Asics shoebox and flushing the pieces down a toilet. Suspicion quickly turned on him. Forensic investigators examined a stain found in the garage of Robert's house, and it was uncovered that it contained DNA from 4 of the 5 Lynn family victims. Robert was arrested soon after this shocking discovery.
Jesus fucking Christ, bro.
But what motive could have driven Robert to kill his wife's entire family so brutally? Well, prosecutors alleged that one of Robert's main motivations was Brenda.
Brenda was her daughter.
Robert was allegedly attracted to his young niece. It was then Brenda reportedly told investigators that her Uncle Robert had been allegedly assaulting her before the murder of her family, and that it had only continued after she moved into his home under his custody. During trial, a picture was painted of a man who, in his need to possess his niece, was driven to kill an entire family. Though this is clearly the kind of case that makes headlines, it wasn't so cut and dry in reality. After 2 abandoned trials and a 3rd trial that ended in a hung jury, it was the 4th jury that found Robert guilty in 2017. Robert still maintains that he is innocent of any crime. I uncovered today's next case during my research into the Lynn family murder.
How are you gonna be?
And though they both feature family tragedy, the twists couldn't be more different. Where the Lynn family was discovered almost immediately, the fate of the McStay family was a mystery. Well, almost. The McStay family lived in Fallbrook, northern San Diego, and was made up of 40-year-old Joseph McStay, his wife, 43-year-old Summer McStay, and the couple's 2 preschool sons, 4-year-old Gianni and 3-year-old Joey Jr.
They had their kids really
Joseph worked as an entrepreneur who sold indoor water fountains. The family was known for being characteristically happy and successful. However, this wouldn't last. By mid-February 2010, it became glaringly clear that something was wrong with the McStay family. None of the family members had been heard from since the 4th, which was highly unusual. When the house was investigated, food was discovered on the counters just left where it had been dropped, and it was now rotten. The treasured family dogs were found left outside in the cold, something completely unusual for the family who loved the animals to have carelessly done. Yet despite these concerning clues, there was no sign of forced entry at all. The house was locked, besides a small window. There was no evidence of a struggle and not even a trace of violence. As well, because there was no suspicious activity on their credit cards, it ruled out the possibility of a robbery. What there was evidence of, though, was that the family had left the house in a hurry and of their own free will. As a search began for the McStay family, their Isuzu Trooper was soon found where it had been abandoned in San Ysidro, near the U.S.-Mexico border. A theory arose to explain the family's absence, that they had intentionally gone over the border, but once there, they met a tragic but unknown fate. This theory made sense because investigators couldn't understand how a family with no known enemies and who were widely regarded as loving could have met a more sinister end. However, family members disagreed that they would have left without telling anyone. The case went cold. Had the McStay family simply vanished, never to be found? Answers wouldn't come for close to 4 years. It wasn't until November 2013 when this case had its first twist. A dirt biker riding through the desert outside Victorville made a grim discovery. Peeking out of the sand was something white, almost like a stone. When the dirt biker came closer, they realized that it wasn't a stone at all, but a skull. Horrifically, the skull was too small to belong to an adult and had to have been a child's. When investigators came to have a look, They
Oh my
found that
God,
the
bro.
skull wasn't alone. They uncovered a shallow grave filled with a total of 4 bodies, 2 adults and 2 small children.
Oh, bro,
It was the McStay family. But the bodies weren't alone. Also tucked within the grave was a sledgehammer. The McStay family had been beaten to death. Joseph was found with an electrical cord wrapped around his neck, while Gianni bore the evidence of at least 7 blows to his skull. DNA that didn't belong to a McStay family member was soon found on the steering wheel and shift gear of the car, along with a cell phone pinged near the gravesite a few days after the McStays had gone missing. Both belonged to Charles Chase Merritt. Looking back, investigators realized that when Merritt, a welder, was interviewed about the McStays just 2 weeks after their disappearance, he had continued to use past tense, referring to Joseph by saying he was my best friend. Merritt had been Joseph's business partner, but there was evidence that before his death, Joseph had begun to sideline Merritt. Investigators believe that Merritt had allegedly been stealing from the McStay's company and that he owed Joseph almost $43,000.
He killed the whole family over $43,000.
But what doesn't make sense is how Merritt could have killed the entire McStay family without any evidence of a struggle.
I know how, bro. I know how. He told them they had won a trip, right? He sent them a fucking, hey, you won a trip to Cabo San Lucas, yay! And then when they're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, but you gotta get here now, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. They get in the car, and then he's like, yo, what's up, bro? How's it going? Are you good? Bang, 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 ah! That's how.
Had they gone willingly to their deaths?
No.
At his trial, Merritt broke down in tears and professed his innocence, saying, I don't deserve this. I did not do this. In 2020, nearly a decade after the McStay family vanished and was brutally killed.
I mean, I was gonna say it's possible he didn't kill it. Maybe he drove the car. Maybe he picked up the children 1 time or 2 times. You know, maybe. But then I remember the cell phone pinged Nia, right? The cell phone pinged Nia. Nia whether they got killed. So that's a little hard to get by. Maybe they were all told they were going on a free trip, and then he escaped somehow. He lived, and he had picked up the children 2 days before because they were best friends, maybe, I don't know.
Merritt was found guilty of 4 counts of murder.
I'm trying.
He was sentenced to life in prison for killing Joseph. But for Summer and the 2 children's murders, he was sentenced to death.
Yeah.
I may have saved the story with the most unexpected twists for last. In 1986...
No, but I'm not like, hold on. That wasn't really a twist. He just didn't tell us. Okay? He didn't tell us that his best friend was investigated. You know what I mean? He told us after. He created that twist. The Raven created that twist. You know what I mean? Because he didn't tell us at all. That wasn't really a twist.
18-year-old Annie Andrews, who lived in Pepperell, Massachusetts, started receiving phone calls from a stranger.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's content mind, bro. He's a content creature. Because that's not a twist, bro. That's just, it's like, oh, I'm going to tell you about an incredible twist, bro. My roommate was murdered. And then nobody could find who the roommate was. Oh, by the way, they interviewed my other roommate, and he admitted to it. That's not a twist. That's not a twist, bro. That's me not telling you one thing, telling you a fucking story, and then saying, oh, by the way, I didn't tell you about this part. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. That's not a twist.
Because the stranger on the other end was a boy around her age named Daniel.
The twist, the first one was a twist. The first one was a twist where it was the guy who went over with his wife. That was a twist. Yeah, because he was banging the fucking daughter forcefully. That was a twist. This ain't no twist.
Annie is a trusting young girl didn't question the calls as much as she probably should have.
But you don't even
Instead,
realize.
she assumed that a friend must have given Daniel her number. Daniel called frequently to talk, but as Annie couldn't see him, she had to rely on his description of himself to imagine what he was like.
A 6'2" guy.
Daniel told Annie that he was a tall, blonde, good-looking, and athletic guy.
He was a
So
fan.
when he asked her on a date,
Fat,
Annie agreed.
motherfucker.
You may be guessing that this case ends with Annie's tragic demise, as many of these sad stories go.
Actually, no.
But you would be very wrong.
Demise.
The boy who met Annie for the date was not at all who she was expecting.
Not.
The boy who introduced himself as Danny wasn't tall. Instead, was about 5'8" and thin, and he wasn't blonde. Instead, he had greasy dark hair and thick, untamed eyebrows. Daniel was awkward and
Yo, is he talking about me? Yeah. Bro, hold on. Is he talking about me, bro? Is this because I called him out on his bullshit? Huh? Now he's telling you guys I'm a serial killer? Is that the twist? This streamer's actually a serial killer. What the fuck? He's talking about me, bro. He's talking about me. I didn't do none, bro. I didn't do none.
noticeable lack of hygiene, none of which was helped by the fact that he had lied to Annie. Still, they went on the date and attended a local fair. It was while walking along the fairgrounds, among the flashing lights and the smell of greasy
I'm not a
food,
simp.
that Annie mentioned that her mother had died of cancer.
And you know what? I told her my dad died of cancer too, and we bonded. That's what I did, bro. Let me.
Hearing this,
I'll tell you
Daniel's
what I
eyes
did.
appeared to light up, and he became incredibly interested. Not in comforting the grieving girl, as
In
one would
how?
imagine.
Yeah. Listen, I wouldn't know how, bro, because I told her my father died of cancer. Okay, we thought he had something wrong with his stomach. You know, we thought he had celiac, but it was actually blood cancer. You know, so I was like, ooh, but what kind of cancer, particularly? Okay, I need to know. I want to know the details. Yes, I want to know the details. And when did you think? But yeah, she found it kind of weird, bro. She found it kind of weird. I thought it was a bonding moment. She said, hey, this is awkward. And I said, this is crazy. But here's my number. So call me maybe, you know.
But instead, incessantly asking her...
And then there was another chick, a brown-haired chick, that was listening to our conversation. And she made a song about that moment. She stole... It was actually me, bro. I did that. The line, here's my number, so call me maybe. It was my line. She stole it. Kali... Valkyrie Jepsen, some shit like that.
Invasive questions about the death.
Real
he
story,
mostly
by the way.
wanted to know how much Annie's mother had suffered.
I mean...
Annie disturbed...
Yeah, I wanted to know because my dad didn't suffer that much. Yeah. It was like, boom, from one day to another, he was bad, but it wasn't that bad, to gone. Yeah. And he was high as fuck. He was high as a kite, bro. He was a morphine. He was having a good time.
by this, and upset that Daniel had lied to her about who he was, declined to go on a second date with him.
I wanted to know.
And
Did they
that's
give him
where the
morphine?
story should have
They gave
ended.
my dad morphine.
But it didn't. Annie went home to her father, Brian, and her younger sister, Jessica, who was 8 at the time. It was soon after her date with Daniel that Annie and Jessica both started to notice strange things happening around the house. Late at night, the two girls would hear tapping on the walls. You can't blame the girl.
I'm making sure, bro, okay? I'm making sure she's safe. I tapped on the walls just to know, hey, listen, is this real concrete or is this not real concrete? Because there might be a creepo, bro, that breaks into this, you know, with a small hammer, so I was testing it out. I needed to know,
who had just lost their mother for considering that the noises could be coming from a ghost. This wasn't helped by the fact that Brian, as a suddenly single parent,
and
had to work more.
Also, their mom died, so they don't have any interior design, okay? As you can see from my setup, I'm a really good interior designer, guys. So I was moving things around. I'm making it prettier. I'm making it prettier, bro. And these people fucking complain. I give her free food, bro. I gave her a story that related to her. I asked her deep, important questions. I helped her around the house. I was making sure she was safe. And now I'm the killer. Oh, now I'm the bad guy.
Or to support the family.
You know who the bad guy is? Your mother for dying and abandoning you. L mother.
Alone.
L mother.
Some stories say that the girls held a seance to conjure the spirit of their mother, but this has never been verified. The strange tapping continued. It woke them in the middle of the night, and soon the girls were hardly sleeping at all.
Bro, I did it in the middle of the night,
then
so I didn't wake.
Things started to move.
I did it in the middle of the night because in the morning there's too many sounds, and I wouldn't know if it's real wall or not real wall.
Is that around the house?
My bad, bro.
Food would vanish from counters within minutes of being put.
I'm doing a job for you guys. I was doing a job for her, bro. I was fixing her house. I deserve a little food.
There. They told their father it was a ghost. He was unconvinced. But then the writing started. One night while the girls were alone, they reportedly heard the tapping again.
Yeah.
This time from below. The girls crept downstairs and, in the basement, found something scrawled on the wall.
Yeah.
The message reportedly read, "I'm in your room, come and find me."
Yeah, I was playing hide and seek with them, bro. I saw they were afraid, okay? And they were worried and they were having a hard time. And I said, you know what? I know what always helped me as a child when I played hide and seek with my cousins. Always had a great amount of fun. So I said, you know what? Let's play hide and seek. Let's play a little. Did I break any laws? I fuck up?
It looked to be written in blood.
Okay, I caught myself, bro. I couldn't find a fucking pen. I couldn't find a pen. What else am I gonna write in? I'm poor, bro. I'm eating your food because I don't have the food. You know, like... Now being poor is bad.
This understandably freaked them out. 2 weeks later, the next message was written in Annie's bedroom.
She couldn't find me, bro.
Find me if you can.
Yeah,
terrified that they were being haunted, the girls called and told their father.
I'm being playful.
Though he didn't quite believe them, he came home to put their fears to rest.
I'm being playful.
As he entered Annie's bedroom, Brian made a shocking discovery.
He found me.
Standing in his daughter's room was someone with long blonde hair, wearing a dress that had belonged to his deceased wife. When the person turned, he realized, shockingly, that it was a young man, wearing a wig and makeup and holding a hatchet.
Okay. It's 2023. I identify as trans. Okay? You caught me, bro. You caught me, bro. It's 2023. I identify as trans, but I'm a butch lesbian trans woman. That's why the hatchet, right? I'm cutting wood. No, I'm cutting wood, bro. I'm a butch lesbian.
He attempted to attack Brian, but he managed...
Well, yeah, because I thought he was a predator, bro. I thought he was a rapist. And I'm protecting these girls.
...to fight him off. And, of course, call the police.
I thought...
Investigators found the boy in the Andrews house, hiding within the crawl space. It became abundantly clear that the boy had been living in the walls of the house for months. He was arrested and charged with a variety of crimes.
Yeah, listen, that's in the past.
The young man
Listen, bro, that's in the past, okay? Listen, bro, what's in the past stays in the past. You understand? Bro, what the fuck? Bro, I clicked on the wrong video. Listen, we don't gotta see this video, bro. We ain't gotta see this video, bro. We ain't gonna see that video, bro. Let's watch another video. Anyways, let's watch another video.
Very true story with you. Today, we're... 1986, 15-year-old Annie.
Oh,
Strange things happening around the house, charged with a variety of crimes. The young man.
Yeah, this is why I'm in the loony bin, okay? This is why my dog has an electrical thing, okay? I'm not allowed out. Alright, I might have done something in my past. My bad. My bad, bro. My real name is Daniel LaPlante. It is what it is, bro.
Was allegedly 17-year-old Daniel LaPlante.
Sorry.
To be clear, the exact details of this story have become a little less clear with how many times it has been retold and dramatized over the years. For instance, in some versions, people say that the intruder was actually dressed as a Native American instead of a woman. Either way, as the facts aren't 100% clear at this time, please be aware that these are merely allegations.
Listen, bro,
Daniel had allegedly been the ghost harassing Annie for months after she had rejected him, which might be one of the more extreme reactions to being rejected that I've ever heard of.
Hey, listen,
but apparently this wasn't all that unusual. Well, it was, but not for Daniel. You see, before he began harassing the Andrews, he had an alleged history of breaking into people's houses and stealing. But reportedly, he also immensely enjoyed moving things around in people's homes to let them know that he had been there, without it being obvious.
Oh my God, he's
After
such
being
a
arrested,
bro.
Daniel stayed at a juvenile's facility for about a year before he was released. It was only a month before he went back to his old ways, though this time he went even further. He broke into his neighbor's home where he found and allegedly stole 2 handguns. Okay, so while the details are a little fuzzy on Daniel's alleged time living in the walls...
Bro, how do you let him out after 1 year? This guy's clearly a fucking schizo. Bro, you let this guy out? You know what? The only thing he can do, bro, is become a Twitch streamer under the name of twitch.tv/MiniDonbeE. And it's what he did.
He was about to do something far more dark and insidious. And in this case, the facts are crystal clear. Spurred by his first crime since being set free, Daniel, now armed, decided to enter someone else's home uninvited.
Yeah, now I got 2 pistols.
A half-mile from his house, he made his way into the home of 33-year-old Priscilla Gustafson, a pregnant church nursery school teacher. At the time, she was home alone with her 2 children, 7-year-old Abigail and 5-year-old William.
Okay,
Daniel attacked Priscilla and assaulted her before allegedly shooting her multiple times at point-blank range.
Fake news.
He purportedly left her laying face down on her bed, with her pillows covered in blood.
I didn't do that.
Daniel proceeded to attack and drown the 2 children,
I definitely
leaving
didn't do that.
each of them in separate bathrooms.
I regret my decisions of pretending to be this
guy. As a manhunt ensued to find the Gustafsons' killer, Daniel's reign of terror continued.
That's not me, bro.
While on the run, Daniel went a few towns over from Townsend and allegedly kidnapped a woman at gunpoint, forcing her to drive him around in her Volkswagen van.
That's no longer fun.
But the lucky woman managed to escape on foot and told the police of the incident.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, bro. If this girl is running away from a killer, she ain't running away. She ain't getting away, bro. What the fuck is that running from? Jesus fucking Christ. You are not running away from a killer like this, okay? You cannot be running away like this.
Police attention turned to Daniel LaPlante. After days of searching...
Trust me, I've got experience. Oh my God. I can't stop myself, bro, from pretending to be.
They found him in one of the most unlikely places. Not the walls of someone's house, as you may suspect, but a dumpster at a lumber yard. Though he was arrested without incident, he disturbed the arresting officers by allegedly laughing maniacally all the while. At a trial in 1988, Daniel LaPlante was convicted of the triple murder and given 3 life sentences.
Hang him, bro.
Is it really a big shock that the guy who lived in someone's walls later became a murderer?
Yeah, kill him,
Maybe not. I mean, if anyone is going to follow that trajectory, it's going to be the guy who lived in someone's walls.
Yeah, I honestly, bro, if you live inside somebody's walls, like, bro, you haven't killed anybody, but it's pretty obvious that you're gonna kill somebody. Am I a schizo, bro, for thinking that?